The Goiânia accident, the Brazilian radiation party of 1987. Who knew a little glowing box could turn an entire neighborhood into an unintentional experiment in nuclear disaster? This wasn't your typical meltdown. It didn't require a massive power plant, weapons testing, or even trained scientists. No, this infamous event came courtesy of a couple of scrap metal collectors, a discarded medical machine, and just the right amount of bureaucratic neglect. Welcome to the Goiânia accident, a prime example of what happens when ignorance meets radioactive isotopes. The story begins with an abandoned medical clinic in Goiânia, Brazil, which had left behind a curious blue glowing device after shutting its doors. This device, as fate would have it, contained a 93-gram pellet of cesium-137. Now, cesium-137 is a high-energy radioactive isotope with more than enough potential to poison an entire community. But who's keeping track, right? After all, the clinic had been closed for years, and the officials who were supposed to safely dispose of this atomic surprise had other priorities. Two scrap metal collectors, eager to make a quick buck, stumbled upon the device, oblivious to the fact that they were handling one of the most dangerous materials known to humanity. They figured the shiny, luminescent powder inside would make an excellent keepsake. So they happily carted it off in a wheelbarrow, blissfully unaware that they were about to become walking case studies in radioactive exposure. It didn't take long for the strange blue glow of the cesium powder to attract attention. Friends and family marveled at its vibrant color, seeing it as some kind of treasure, a once-in-a-lifetime find. They began rubbing the powder on their skin like a lucky charm. It traveled from hand to hand, house to house, infecting everyone who touched it with its deadly particles. By the time the symptoms began, nausea, vomiting, and agonizing burns, no one suspected that their gift from the gods was poisoning them. When authorities finally intervened, it was too late. Goiânia had become a hazmat zone, and hundreds of residents lined up for radiation checks at makeshift clinics, only to discover that they had absorbed dangerous levels of cesium particles. The Brazilian government, jolted into action, initiated one of the most extensive and expensive cleanups in South American history. Entire homes were demolished, soil was removed and buried, and the once innocent memento of the Great Goiânia Glowfest was carted off in lead-lined barrels. In the end, 4 people died, including a 6-year-old girl who had used the cesium powder as makeup, and more than 240 were left with long-term health issues due to radiation exposure. The lesson here: maybe slap a danger do not scrap label on your cesium-137. For everyone else, it's a reminder that sometimes not all that glitters is gold. Sometimes it's radioactive cesium powder, waiting to turn your home into a biohazard.